everybody, my name is Mr. Francy and welcome back to Mr. Francy Reads. Today I am going to be doing my most controversial video of the entire year. Some people love these videos and some people don't, but I am someone who is extremely transparent on this channel. Well, I always say that I am, and I feel that I am, and in this video and this series of this same video, I show that side of me because today we are discussing my absolute worst books of 2022. Now, for the past couple of videos, I've been discussing books from the last 12 months that I loved, but for this one, I am limiting it to 2022, so if I read it in December of 2021, it will not count for this video. I have more than enough books to discuss with you all. Now, I have a top 10 list. I'm going to try and get through them as quickly as I can, starting off with number 10, which was okay. And then getting on to number 1, which was horrible. And so with some of them, I might just neutrally be explaining, but with others, the emotion will come through. So if that sounds like a fun video for you, then get ready. If not, well, maybe watch this one on a faster speed and get through it more quickly, or maybe just skip this one and then watch the next one, which is going to be my bookshelf tour. Oh my gosh, I'm very excited about that. It takes a long time to film, but I always love watching it back. Alright, those of you who are sticking around, let's get right into it. These are my top 10 worst books that I read between January and November of 2022. Coming in at number 10 is The King of Mist by Jordan Rivett. Now, all books that come in from 10th place to 7th place received 3 stars. Those that come in from 6th place to 1st place received 2 stars. I have not given a 1-star rating in a very long time. Well, alright, I'll quickly say this. I have not given a 1-star rating in a very long time. There was a book I read last year that I absolutely refuse to rate because it was that horrible that I don't even rate it. And if you want to see that one, check out my worst books of the year from last year. Check out number 1. Oh my gosh, it was the absolute worst book I've ever read. But aside from that, I have not given a 1-star rating for a book in quite a long time. Not because I don't want to, because I'm more than happy to give a book 1 star if it deserves that. I mean, as I say, I'm transparent, I'm happy to, but I just haven't come across a 1-star book as yet. But, so, yes, 10th place to, and including 7th place is 3-star books, and then, 6th place through to 1st place is 2-star books. Alright, again, number 10 is King of Mist by Jordan Rivett. Let's put it up on the screen. This is book number 2 in the Steel and Fire series, and I gave this book 3 stars. And this book has made it to my worst books of the year because I loved book 1, Duel of Fire, so much. I loved the first 3 quarters of this book, which is why it received 3 stars. But the final quarter of this book had me umming and ahhing and eventually deciding to DNF the entire series. Yes, Jordan Rivett upset me. Now, look, I am different. You know, every reader is different. Every reader has their own opinion. Of course, I should put in a, what do you call it? Like a little, you know, disclaimer here saying, every opinion is my own and only reflects me and not everyone agrees and yada, yada, yada. Okay, now with that out the way. Okay, in my opinion. Okay. This book offended me personally because it deals with my least favorite trope right at the end of the book, which is the traveling/questing trope where you don't know where you're going and you don't know how you're going to get there. And let me just place it out there why that is something that I have an issue with. The traveling/questing trope is okay if you know where you're going and you know how you're going to get there. But if you don't know where you're even going, which implies that you don't know how you're going to get there, then we're going to do nothing but meanderingly wander around everywhere until we finally get to where the heck we're going at the end of the book, because somehow magically we've wound up there even though we didn't know where we were going in the first place anyway, and we didn't know how we were going to get there, but we just magically got there and it was a boring book anyway. So I love this series, but this book really let me down. So I've DNF'd the entire series, and that's why I came into 10th place. Alright, bit of emotion there. Let's keep going. Coming in at number 9 is this book, Cytonic, by Brandon Sanderson. Let's put that up on the screen. This is book number 3 in the Skyward series. Okay, so I am crowning this series as the series that I place as akin to Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Book number 1 in this series, Skyward, was just right. Book number 2, I don't remember what it's called. I do not remember. Starsight. Book number 2, Starsight, was too much. Cytonic was nowhere near enough. It was too little. So I can say this without giving anything away. In book number 3, our protagonist, whose name is Spencer, that's S-P-E-N-S-A, Spencer, not Spencer, she's wound up on this island, this deserted island that's kind of like jungle themed, and she spends the entire duration of the book trying to get off the island, but really nothing happens while she's trying to get off this island, which really disappointed me. It's the only Brandon Sanderson book I read this year, and the final Brandon Sanderson book I read last year was Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians, the first book in the Alcatraz series, and I did not like that book either. So the last 2 books I've read of Sanderson's, I did not like. But I'm hoping to read some more Sanderson in 2023. Hopefully I come across some good ones. But for the one and only Sanderson book I read this year to be a disappointment says a lot about me, because you all know, if you've been with me long enough, how much I love my dear, 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 dear Mr. Brando Sando. I know how amazing he is with world building, characters, plot, all that kind of stuff, magic systems. Even though this is a sci-fi, it would more be the sci-fi systems as opposed to the magic systems. It just wasn't there. It really let me down. Coming in at number 8 is a book I don't have on me anymore because I read it once, I did not like it. I read it a second time because I had to, and it is now gone. I've unhauled it. Let's put it up on the screen. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Alright, let me discuss this with you. First of all, if you see a classic in a classic book that I discuss that I tell you I don't like, go and check out Jessica's channel from Lady Lovestead Reads. Jessica and I seem to have opposing opinions when it comes to classics. We're great friends, and we love the fact that we have different opinions on it, so it's all good. But if I don't like a classic, she loves it, and if she doesn't like a classic, I do. So feel free to go back and forth. If either of us don't like a classic, check out if the other one has read it, because most likely they did love it. But for me, I read Frankenstein in 2021 the first time for a buddy read, and I just did not enjoy it. In 2022, this year, I was studying a literature degree, which I don't have time to do anymore, but at the time, when I was studying it, we had to read this book for an essay, so I had to reread it. And here is my big issue. Now that I have studied it fully, wholly, and completely for an essay, so it wasn't just a nice, fun read, I was literally studying the book itself. My issue is this. The ending of this book is so phenomenal. It was fantastic, which is why it received 3 stars. Something happens with Frankenstein the monster, and that something that happens and that is discussed at the end of the book is just so good. So my issue, because you're probably thinking, well, if the ending was good, why didn't you give it a really good rating? Well, my issue is this. The ending shows me just how great of a writer Mary Shelley is and the potential she had for the first 3/4 of the book that she did not display. So it really let me down that the ending was so good, but the rest of the story was just so boring. Why wasn't the rest of the story good? So that's why that one came in at 8th place. Coming in at number 7 is my final 3-star book, so let's discuss it, shall we? I've spoken about it before, but hey, it was one of my worst books for the year. It was this book, Class Reunions Are Murder by Libby Klein. Let's put it up on the screen. This is an adult cozy mystery book, and it is book 1 in the Poppy McAllister mystery series, and almost caused me to DNF the series. Fortunately, I didn't. Let me explain why. Okay, we follow a woman by the name of Poppy McAllister, who is plus-sized. Okay, not a problem. It's just a fact. She just is. Wonderful. Let's keep moving along with the book. Well, apparently not. In Libby Klein's humble opinion, she decided to take every opportunity she could to get other characters to put Poppy down for her size. Now, if this happened once or twice in the book, it would have been fine. Like, I still wouldn't have liked it, but I would have just, thrown it off and just went, okay, it's fine. It is what it is. It only happened twice. Fine. But it came up every single opportunity that anyone had to comment on her weight and put her down for her weight, that it really, really got to me. And then at one point in this book, Poppy goes to like a psychologist or a therapist or something like that. And even this psychologist or therapist or whatever they are says to her she has to go on a diet now because of how big she is, and she makes a big hoo-ha about it. It really let me down. Now, you may not feel offended by someone who's plus-sized getting picked on throughout the course of an entire book, but you have to concede at the very least that if you aren't offended by it and it happens constantly, that it would at the very least get annoying for you, because it just keeps happening and happening and happening and happening and happening and happening and happening. And it's a 400-page book. Why does it have to keep happening? Isn't once or twice enough? But for me, I found it offensive. So every time it happened, it broke my heart more and more and more, which just, really got to me. I almost didn't continue on with the series, but someone gave me some great advice. If you don't like book 1, give book 2 a go, because book 1 is just the first book. I'm glad I did. The rest of the series is great. My advice, if you're going to pick up this series in 2023 or even now after this video, skip this one. Skip book 1. All you need to know, I'll tell you what you need to know without giving away any murder spoilers. But all you need to know from this one to move forward is we follow Poppy McAllister, a plus-size character, and her Aunt Ginny, her Aunt Ginny's elderly group of friends known as the Biddies. They are opening a bed and breakfast, and that bed and breakfast will serve as the backdrop for the remainder of the series, because we'll have lots of guests coming in and out of the bed and breakfast. Now that you know that, jump right into book number 2 and just start from book 2. Give this one a skip. All right. Coming in at number 6 is my first 2-star book, and that would have to be An Eggnog to Die For by Amy Pershing. This is book number 2 in the Cape Cod Foodie Mystery series, and I gave this book 2 stars. Here's why. I fully, wholly, and completely believe that this book was miscategorized. Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know what a cozy mystery is, allow me to explain. There are many genres in the world of literature. One of those genres is mystery. That is a genre that stands on its own. It is an actual genre. The genre of mystery has a sub-genre, and that sub-genre is known as cozy mysteries, whereby the definition of a cozy mystery is that in comparison to a mystery itself is much more cozy. I heard a great definition from someone recently, which is that a cozy mystery, any type of cozy mystery book, should be a book that you are unashamed to read or to give to your grandmother. And I completely agree with that. It is extremely cozy and comfortable. The murder happens off a screen. There's almost always a murder for the mystery. It happens off page, so we don't see it. And the characters are usually very cozy, very comfortable to hang around with. It almost reads like a really nice contemporary with a murder mystery thrown in, or a really nice romance with a murder mystery thrown in. Herein lies the problem with labeling this book as a cozy mystery. This book to me read like a 90% mystery and 10% cozy, and that just really annoyed me, because that is more what you'd call a mystery. Now, I get it. There are probably viewers out there right now watching this. Hello, if you're one of them. So nice to have you here. That probably think, yes, but Mr. Francy, if you're as well read as you claim, there are different types of cozy mysteries. There is the grittier cozy, the standard cozy, the really cozy, and the cozy, comfortable, comfy, wumpy, lumpy, dumpy, sweet and nice little cherub cozy mystery. That is fine. I am happy for you to have that as a definition for a cozies. It does not mean I have to accept it. No. A cozy mystery is literally called a cozy mystery because it is meant to be what? That's right, cozy. So if it's not cozy, why is it called a cozy mystery? Why is it not called a mystery? The only thing cozy about this book is 2 things. One, the cover. The cover makes it look extremely cozy. So yes, just by cover alone, you would think it's a cozy. And the second thing is there's a dog in the series who is just absolutely beautiful, and that dog is a very cozy type of dog, and we have cozy situations with the dog. But aside from that, it is not a cozy read at all. That is not to say it's a bad book. but it's not a cozy mystery. And if I'm to rate, based on the stats that I have in front of me, that this is an adult cozy mystery, I don't know if there's such a thing as a YA or middle grade cozy, but if there is, please let me know. I want to read them. Most of all the ones I know of are adult ones. But if this is going to be called a cozy mystery, I need to rate it based on the fact that it is a cozy mystery and not just a mystery. Also, Amy Pershing's writing style was extremely dense for me to read. I struggled to get through it because of just how dense it was. It's not to say it's a bad book. Not at all. I think it's great. I just think that it is totally misrepresented and miscategorized being a cozy mystery. All right. Let's move on to the next one. Coming in at number 5 is this book, 15 Minutes of Flame by Kristen Brecker. Let's put it up on the screen. This is book number 3 in the Nantucket Candle Maker Mystery Series, where the running gag that Mr. Francy has on this channel is, this is the Nantucket Candle Maker Mystery Series where next to no candle making happens at all. Okay, well that was certainly the case in book number 1, which is Murder's No Votive Confidence. It was like 95% mystery, 5% cozy. The only candle side of it was that the protagonist, who I've forgotten her name, Stella runs a candle shop, and that's it. In books 2 and 3, we get a little more candle making, which I do appreciate, but here's my problem, and it flies directly in the face of what I said with the last one. So, here you go. A little bit of a, I don't know what that word is, but, yeah. Yeah. Anyway. I loved the mystery of book 1. Do I think it was a cozy mystery? No, but I did love the mystery of book 1. So I was really looking forward to reading book 2. Book 2's mystery extremely let me down, and I was looking forward to the mystery because I loved the mystery in book 1. And then with book 3, I ummed and ahed about whether or not I should read it, and decided to read it because it was the last book in the series. I might as well wrap it up, and it was just really disappointing, so it annoyed me even more that I chose to read the book. And the series overall was just extremely disappointing. If you know of a candle or candle making cozy mystery series that is a cozy mystery and not a cozy mystery, please let me know, because I want to read a candle cozy, not a candle mystery, but a candle cozy. And that's why that one got what it did. Alright, coming in at number 4, speaking of books not being cozy enough, is Glazed Murder by Jessica Beck. I don't have this book on me, that's why it's up there. The book is expensive, so I didn't purchase it. I didn't like it, so I'm definitely not purchasing it. But this is book number 1 in the Donut Shop Mystery Series, and therein lies my problem. My fascination with this series and putting it on my SAS list was because it's literally called The Donut Shop Mystery Series. And I thought, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing, having the cozy side of this particular mystery be all about being in a donut shop and seeing all these different donuts and seeing them, the main character make all these different donuts and donut palooza. It's going to be fantastic. But no, my friends, no. In book number 1, which is, as far as I got, this book, the donut shop is literally there in the background. Okay, so we are following someone, I don't remember her name, but she owns a donut shop. Wonderful, good for her. That's really it. She owns a donut shop. Sometimes she'll serve the donuts to customers, but the point of the book is the mystery, and we learn next to absolutely nothing about the donut shop, the donuts themselves, the donut cooking process. We learn nothing about that in the first book. And again, I don't understand why it is called a cozy mystery. It doesn't make any sense to me. I DNF'd the series quick smart. There are so many books in this series, and it wasn't serving what I wanted right away from book 1, so goodbye. And that's why it made it to number 4. Alright, now let's talk about book number 3. Alright, so we're now getting into the medal positions. Which book claimed the bronze? Which book claimed the silver? And oh my goodness, just wait till we get to the gold, because I hope that I don't run out of time when I talk about the gold one. Alright, the bronze medal for the absolute third place worst book that I read in 2022 was this book, Basket Case by Nancy Haddock. Let's put it up on the screen. The best feature of this entire book, in my humble opinion, is the cover. The cover is absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely would love to blow this cover up and frame it and put it somewhere because I'm just looking at it here while you're looking at it over there. It is just absolutely stunning. I love the look of the house, the chair outside the front of the house, the grass, the basket that we have at the front. I think it's fantastic. Is this book cozy? No, not at all. Does it get cozier as it goes along? Yes, I did read all 3 books in this, what is it called? Silver Six Crafting Mystery Series. And it gets cozier as it goes along. I gave this one 2 stars, book 2, 3 stars, book 3, 4 stars. I wish there was a 4th one because Nancy Haddock did get better as she went along. But this one was such a letdown. First of all, this book was not cozy at all. It was like 95% mystery, 5% cozy. Secondly, you're calling this series a Silver Six Crafting Mystery Series. Let's say that again. A Silver Six, which indicates we have 6 people who are of the Silver Age. Okay, yep, I get that. Yes, that was there. But then the next part of the series title is Crafting Mystery Series. There was no crafting that went on in the book. I don't understand sometimes how authors or publishers or whoever it is that decides the name of a series comes up with these names of series because they don't make any sense. It was like the Nantucket Candlemaker mystery series where next to no candle making goes on. Why would you call it that? I don't understand it. Now, in this particular series, we are following a woman by the name of Leslie who goes by the nickname of Nixie. Why didn't we just call it the Nixie mystery series? Why do we call it the Crafting Mystery Series when in book 1 there is no crafting whatsoever? It doesn't reflect the title. It doesn't make any sense. Also, that 5% of coziness really wasn't cozy at all. Now, I listened to this book on audiobook. How many of you out there have seen the movie Titanic? How many of you out there have not only seen the movie at least once, but remember the movie quite well? Excellent. Those of you who remember it quite well, how many of you remember the mother, Rose's mother? You know, the prim and proper lady who, when they were all getting on the boats, because they were trying to escape the Titanic, says, "Excuse me, dear, but where are the first class seats?" It's probably one of the best lines of the movie. Where are the first class seats? And then that, the bigger woman who I love, who I don't remember her name, but I love her. She goes, "Come on over, first class seats right up here." Love it. Anyway, the narrator for this series sounds like, Rose's mother from Titanic to me. Listen to the narration, go on Audible or wherever, listen to the sample and tell me I'm wrong. It sounds like her. And I couldn't get her image out of my head for being Nixie because she sounds like her so much. But anyway, that's not a complaint necessarily. That's fine. That's just a quirk as part of the audiobook experience. But the book was extremely dry. It did not feel cozy at all. Again, why is it called a cozy mystery? Someone please help me, okay? I'm reminding myself of an episode of Simpsons where Homer says, "Help me, Lisa, help me." Seriously, someone help me out here. If it's called a cozy mystery, why is it not cozy? No, it doesn't make any sense to me. That is why the bronze medal for my worst book, my 3rd place worst book of 2022 goes to Basket Case. Alright, silver medal time. And the silver medal book I don't have on me because I have unhauled it. And that book is 2nd place, 2nd worst book of 2022. This one, Scene of the Climb by Kate Dyer Seeley. Where the heck do I begin? Okay. First of all, I went into this book thinking, okay, I'm going to give it a go. Someone on my Discord recommended that we read it together as a buddy read. I really appreciated that they recommended it as a buddy read, and I hold nothing against them, and I'm sure they hold nothing against me for our differing opinions. It is what it is. We both had different opinions of the book, but I had issues. I had massive issues. So first of all, we are following a character, I don't remember her name, who, her idea, she literally says in the book, her idea of sport or anything sporty is getting up off the sofa to make a cup of coffee, but she needs a job, so she applies for a job to be a writer for a sporting magazine, in which she needs to go rock climbing so that she can write an article about rock climbing. If that doesn't make enough sense to you, or if that is enough to get you inspired to want to keep reading, let me tell you something else. There is Australian representation in this book, which is so wonderful. Thank you so much to Kate Dyer-Seeley for having Australian representation in the book. But I do not thank you, Kate Dyer-Seeley, for the way that you represented your Australian character, because not only couldn't have not been any more wrong, it couldn't have been any more offensive. I'd much rather an American writer not include an Australian in a book, or not call the Australian an Australian, than include an Australian and get everything wrong about it. First of all, the Australian guy wasn't a great guy. That's fine. I can deal with the fact that the Aussie rep that you chose for the book isn't a nice character. I can deal with that, because it's just a character, so that's fine. But the problem is that a word came up. Oh gosh, I have to look at what the word was. One moment. Okay, the word that came up. So this Australian guy mentions a word, and the word is ochre. That's how we say it in Australia. In America, you might say occur. It is spelled O-C-K-E-R. Now, in this book, Kate Dyer-Seeley describes the word ochre, or occur if you're American, to be a man-eater. No. No. Now, first of all, ochre is not a term you would hear in civilized conversation in Australia. It is an Australian term, but certainly not a term you would hear in civilized conversation. Ochre is a demeaning term to represent a rough, uncivilized Australian man. Not a man-eater, someone who is uncivilized. That is what it is. It is a put-down. So first of all, the fact that you've used this in a cozy doesn't make sense, but secondly, the fact that you couldn't have gotten this any more wrong personally offended me, because then the main character, like, it would be one thing if the meaning was wrong and it was what it was, but then the main character ran with this meaning, going, okay, so an ochre is someone who is a man-eater. Oh, well, I guess that person's an ochre, and that person's an ochre, and that person's an ochre, and it just really annoyed me. Next, I need to complain about the audiobook. The narrator of this audiobook, when they were giving the accent of the Australian, was using a New Zealand accent. If I can impart one thing to any audiobook narrator who's American, it is please study the difference between between a New Zealander and an Australian accent, because they are different. There may be slight differences, but they are different. There is a distinctive difference between the two. To give you an example, we have a lovely culinary experience in Australia, you probably have them overseas too, called fish and chips. It's a Greek delight. Okay, in Australia we call it fish and chips. In New Zealand they call it fish and chips. It is a very different accent. And the accent that the narrator was using was a New Zealand accent and not an Australian one. We're running out of time. We need to get on to number one because I have ranting to do. So that is number two for you, which is Scene of the Climb by Kate Dyer-Seeley. Let's jump into number one. The absolute single worst book by a mile and a half that I read in 2022 was this book, The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. How much time do you have for me to explain how horrible this book is? I don't get why it is a classic. I don't get why people are still reading it. I don't get why people are still forced to read it. I fell into the later category. I was forced to read this for my schooling, and the subject I was studying at that time, that unit for my literature degree, was ironically called Great Books. This is not one. No. This is a book about a man who, from the very first sentence in the book, wakes up as a bug. He does absolutely nothing Does the bug have superpowers? No. Does the bug do anything funny? No. Does anything horrifying happen to the bug? No. Do we get the backstory and is it explained why he is a bug? No. So what happens in the book then, Francie? Do explain. I'm trying to. It is a book about a bug. Literally a book about a bug that walks around from room to room, which obviously takes him a long time because he's now a little tiny bug. His family knows he's a bug. They are horrified by him being a bug. Some of the family members want to kill him. Some of them want to throw him out of the house. He is a bug, and that is it. It is a book about a bug. It couldn't have been any worse of a book. Now, some people are saying that this book is a metaphor for depression. Maybe. I feel like it's a bit of a stretch as a metaphor for depression. If you want a better representation of a metaphor for some sort of depression, I would recommend reading Pet Sematary by Stephen King. If you've seen the movie, don't disregard the book. Read the book for the sake of depression, as well as a study in grief and loss. But this book, depression, that's a stretch. Please, I know it's categorized as a classic, but please don't waste your time. It is the absolute most boring book I've ever read, and if I did not have to write an essay on it, I would have quit very early on, but I was forced to read it. Teachers, heed my warning. There are so much better books out there, to the point that I actually did a video after I read all of my great books units books that were assigned, saying this is what I would assign instead. So feel free to check that out. I think I did that in like May or April, May, June, somewhere around there. So feel free to check that out. But anyway, those are my top 10 books. The gold medal for the absolute worst book that I read, going to the Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. But which books were your most horrible, singularly worst books that you read in 2022? Let me know in the comments below, and feel free to sound off with all your feelings. But in the meantime, that is where I am going to leave it. Bookshelf tour coming your way soon. Letting you all go with peace, blessings, and so much love. Please do be kind and love one another, and spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. And until next time, Merry Christmas and Happy reading. Bye, everyone.